that we have. So we weren't made to have babies and to parent in like a bubble of isolation.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard, but it's totally doable. But when you do it in a community and you have that shared experience, it's way better. So let's talk about groups and what that means and what we do and what do you get at Heart of Houston with your groups.
Yeah. So the biggest part I think of the Whole Heart Collective is the support group portion of it, the community portion of it, because it is so important. You know, being in a room with other people who are like, today sucked, and to make it normal that today sucked, or, you know, awesome, my kid is sleeping through the night all of a sudden, right? To be able to celebrate those things where maybe, you know, other people in your life don't quite get the gravity of those things. And so to have a community of people there to be able to celebrate those things with, or ask the questions, you know, it makes such a difference in normalizing everything that you're feeling. Because we get a lot of the image crafted, Instagram, beautiful breastfeeding relationship with your baby, and everything is kittens and butterflies.
It's not.
And when your nipples are chapped and bleeding and your baby's screaming and you're like, what is happening? That's not what you're seeing. And so you feel like you're doing something wrong. And the reality is, a lot of times that's what breastfeeding is like to begin with. So to be able to be a part of in-person groups and to see that, oh, this person had that same struggle and look how well they're doing now. Or, you know, oh, I hadn't even thought about that question. And now, great, now I have an answer. If it ever comes up, I know what I'm looking at. And but just that in-person connection, I think, makes a difference in how because it can be so isolating, right? The newborn,
that's one of the
so
things,
isolating.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I love about group is, and postpartum group in particular, is that, and I tell my clients all the time, you know, having a baby, especially that first baby, it's like walking into a brick wall. You know, you can be as prepared as you think you're going to be, and it's going to smack you in the face, because what we don't adequately prepare for and what we don't usually talk about are those huge role shifts for parents, and the difference between those role shifts for mothers and the difference between those role shifts for fathers. And that group gives a space for people to navigate that a little bit better, because it's really confusing sometimes. Hey, is this a normal thing, or do I have something, is there a problem here? You know, we get so much information about postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety, that sometimes it gets confusing between like, hey, what's normal and what's not, because it's not all kittens and butterflies, as you said. I mean, there's some challenging parts, and there's a lot of normal. I mean, there's normal role shifts, there's normal griefs. It's normal to feel sad about like this new task that you thought you wanted so much and now you don't have. And group gives a platform to sit with other people that are in the same spot, with a couple other people that have been there a few years before, and made it to the other side, and to say, here, you know, like let's parse out where you're at. Let's talk about how, you know, how things feel. It's not judgmental. It's not, you know, there's no right or wrong, because there are no rights and wrongs. You know, generally, there's a couple things you shouldn't do, but just a few. But in general, there you know, like there's a million ways to do it, and you have to figure out what works for you.
Yeah, in this age of information where you're told constantly, you know, oh, here's a book on how to get your baby to do this, and that this is the right way, and this is the right way, and then you're just like, but my kid doesn't fit into any of these boxes, and so I must be doing something wrong. To be able to be in front of people that say, like, my kid doesn't fit in those boxes either. Like, I took this piece from that book, and this piece from that blog, and this piece from this person, and, you know, I'm kind of creating my own map here, and that's what we should be doing. You know, that's really what is easiest. But to have a group of people going through that same thing with you, I think just makes a difference. It makes such a difference in how you feel about this time in your life, you know, and not just you, but your partner and your family. And, you know, that sense, it's like you said, we weren't meant to do this alone. We were meant to do this in small communities. And that's really hard to do, especially in a city as big as Houston. Yeah.